Okay, so today we're going to continue with talking about pedigrees, how we can see when traits are passed down from generation to generation. Looking at the pedigree here on the screen, we show 3 generations of a family. How to read these? The squares, those are males, and the circles are females. There's a couple different ways you can draw pedigrees. For instance, the one on the screen shows shaded or not shaded. This is just to basically tell that the person either has this disorder or they don't have it. It doesn't tell us whether you have heterozygous or homozygous for that trait. It just says, yes, they have it, no, they don't. We also go a little bit further when we look at heterozygous and homozygous. So I'll draw these up here on the board. We have a square for a male, 3 different squares here. I put big R, big R, big R, little r, little r, little r. How many on this first one, little r's, are there? There's none. So there's 0%. So that means we don't shade anything in. This is an open square. That means they're homozygous dominant. For the second one, we have 1 little r out of 2. 1 out of 2 is 50%. So I'm going to shade 50% or half of this square. That says they're a carrier. They have this disorder, but they don't show it. And then the last one, little r, both of them are little, 100%. We shade the entire square or the entire circle in. So we're looking at these to see, kind of determine whether an organism is going to get this trait, have the disorder, be a carrier, etc. Here's an example for Huntington's disease. Huntington's is the opposite. We've been talking a lot about recessive traits, recessive disorders. Huntington's is a dominant trait. Allele causing this trait. You can see that all these on the right side, no big H's, which means no Huntington's disease. We've talked before about how more than one gene can affect a certain trait. We call that polygenetic. Poly means many. All right, many genes are inherited for one trait. Skin color is an example. We look at these 3 genes here for skin color. The more dominant alleles you have, the darker your skin tone. So over here, this nice pale white person, they don't have any. No dominant alleles, no skin pigment. All the way to all of these alleles are dominant, which means this will be a very dark complected, dark-skinned person. So we have our Caucasian at one end, we have our African Americans at the other, and then our other ethnicities fall in between. They have a mixture of dominant and recessive alleles for skin color, for the tone of skin color. The environment where the organism lives can also impact what the organism exhibits, what it shows. The environment can also have effects on how organisms look. It affects their phenotypes, what we see them as. We have a Himalayan rabbit here. Originally, their fur is white, but they have black ears, black nose, black feet, and black tail. Why? What you know about colors? Black attracts more heat, lets more heat in, absorbs more heat. So the key features of the rabbit, what they need: ears to hear predators, nose to find food, feet to move, to run away, to go to food, all need to have a sufficient blood flow, stay warm, so that they can survive. But the whiteness of the rabbit helps it blend in. But over time, the change in temperatures, the rabbit adapting to those cold temperatures, you see that the rabbit's fur will start to turn black. As it absorbs heat, needs more heat to survive, the color of the fur changes. Can be good because the rabbit doesn't freeze to death, but can be bad because now predators can see the rabbit better in the snow. This also has been documented with cats, and especially in identical twins that are separated at birth. Two identical twins that are separated move to different parts of either the state or the country. They'll live different lives. They adapt to the surroundings they have, the environment they have there. And when they come back 30, 40, 50 years later, you see that they're not identical anymore. They have different characteristics based on where they grew up, where they lived.